Hello legend, my name is RemovableSanity. Today I'm reviewing Crow Country on the Series X, developed and published by SFB Games. So what is Crow Country? Crow Country is a retro-inspired isometric survival horror game where you'll test yourself against puzzles and riddles as you investigate the eerie tranquillity of an abandoned theme park. The premise is you take control of Mara Forrest, who's investigating the mysterious disappearance of Edward Crow and the abrupt closure of his theme park, Crow Country. The game boasts 3 modes: survival, exploration, and a recently added hard mode, an intriguing story, multiple endings, and new game weapons for subsequent playthroughs. First up is accessibility. With regards to accessibility, there is no button remapping. However, there is classic or modern layouts to choose from. There is the option to have more lives and a camera aiming swivel. With regards to visual settings, only gameplay HUD and exit arrows can be turned on or off. Subtitle options do not exist, and sound options are equally limited, so should you have sound and eyesight issues, this game would not be for you. Next up is gameplay. I was first introduced to this game earlier in the year when visiting WASD. Chatting to the developers was a real eye-opener in their inspirations and aspirations for the game. It was clear from the demo that the game itself went back to the 90s basics in terms of survival horror, and from that alone I was hooked. From the beginning, the game gives you 3 modes of play: survival, exploration, and hard. The first is your traditional Resident Evil experience, with the latter removing the park's enemies, so you can solely focus on exploration and puzzle solving. The third just ramps up the difficulty in all areas. The game then begins with you as Mara Forrest driving to the now abandoned, crumbling Crow Country theme park and starts in its parking zone. Mara is here to follow up on a missing persons report of the park's owner, Edward Crow, who also has a personal reason for finding him. Soon, entering the park, you realise that things are much more sinister and dangerous than first imagined. This revelation comes from finding an injured individual called Arthur laying wounded on the main pathway into the park. Quickly patched up and taken back to your car to recover, and it's from here things only get steadily worse as you leave him again and start to make your way through the park. The story of the park is then told by discoverable notes left behind by employees, old newspaper clippings, and interacting with a small but intriguing cast of NPCs. Combine this with Mara's own hidden intentions, the story soon becomes much more darker than once imagined, leading up to quite a dramatic conclusion. It's this story that influences the monster's design, which is far away from the traditional zombie franchise that inspired it. The monsters aren't just there to keep things tense either, and actually function as a main mechanic for the game. You see, as the story progresses, the park increasingly fills with these grotesque monsters, making travelling between areas more dangerous and increasing the tension. Like any good survival horror, you can avoid most enemy encounters by simply running past them, thus conserving your limited supply of ammo. But with every monster you fail to remove from the area in question, this only adds to the numbers as more are added over time, making the paths more difficult to navigate without getting hurt. So it soon becomes a balance of using your limited ammo supply to keep numbers at a manageable level, whilst keeping enough available dealing with bosses. Now, generally ammo itself is pretty plentiful for some weapons, but the amount you can hold is restricted for all, adding another layer of complexity to keep in mind. You start off with a basic pistol, and as you progress, you will solve puzzles to obtain more powerful weapons, like the shotgun, magnum, and flamethrower. Each of these weapons can also be upgraded, again by solving puzzles, which will allow you to access to a small mushroom creature that will provide said upgrade to a certain weapon. If you haven't found that weapon already, you won't get that upgrade. Lying around in the environment is also weapon and laser sights to help with your targeting, and whilst they provide a nice visual touch thanks to the control system, aren't a necessity. Aiming here is also unique, as to do so it locks you in position but then allows you to freely move the aiming reticle in the direction of your enemy. However, depending on weapon, there is a bit of a sway as you aim, which seems to reduce when said laser sight is attached. Aiming and shooting within an isometric view will take the player some time to get to grips with, as you are aiming both horizontally and vertically at the same time. But by the time you have opened up the vast majority of the game's arenas, you will find targeting a much better experience. The game's world has been deliberately created to be a smaller curated experience, with 3 arenas either side of a central plaza and main street connect them all. There's also a sub-floor arena to access later in the game, connected by 4 lifts in each corner of the world map above. Because of the game's open-ended nature, you slowly expand access to restricted areas by moving back and forth, solving clues and using items. To make things quicker, there are interconnected shortcuts in these arenas that remove the need of backtracking along the main street, but not the potential for danger. Each arena has a map, which once found will show off all the accessible and inaccessible connecting rooms of that zone, and helping you for backtracking. And you will backtrack a lot due to the game's puzzles, which while some are focused on being self-contained, others are more cross-zone conundrums. The self-contained ones often have a solution within or a room nearby, but game progressing puzzles will require you to expand into other map areas to pick up an item and use it elsewhere before returning. This is where the beauty of the map's smaller scale works to its favour, as a bigger world would need fast travel to make the journeys unbearable, and due to that miss out on the tension the world round provides. Puzzle design is equally fun and brings back the old school method of exploring thoroughly and writing things down if you don't have a great memory, which I don't. In one instance, I had to recite a code phrase to a fairy statue before I could gain access to the area behind. However, because this was written in a book only a few rooms away, I only remembered part of that phrase, cue post-it note time. Other times, I just couldn't work out what I was meant to do, mainly because I didn't check the area carefully enough. Regardless, the developers have also thought of a great solution with certain rare statues that will give you up to 9 hints dotted around the park. I will say though, by using these you will affect your end game score, which you need to keep high. Why? Well, like others in the genre, the developers have created in-game rewards for completing the game and gaining a certain rank. No paid add-ons here. This is proper old school solution to replayability, with new weapons on offer depending on said completion of rank. There's also a Crow collectibles to find, which add another challenge and will provide you with a new weapon and character skin, again without the need to purchase. Up next is graphics. The developers stated that their inspiration was Final Fantasy VII and Silent Hill with a PlayStation 2 retro visual style, and as you make your way through the game, you can see that influence in spades from the sound, mechanics and aesthetics. I love the visual look and its low poly stance, as it actually makes the game more visually tense in my opinion. Crow Country isometric viewpoint combined with a free camera movement provides that fresh modern feel, whilst allowing players to enjoy the 3D retro visuals in all their blocky glory. The landscapes isn't just rendered backgrounds of yesteryear either, with them being fully 3D interactive as you search for hidden items within your surroundings. This is elevated further when the lights go out later in the game, or when you're in the sub-level and are forced to use your pocket light. The modern day light source picks up the subtlety of the retro model aesthetics while casting superb shadows that somehow provides a more sinister effect than if a low poly inspired light source was used. Each of the arenas are also uniquely disturbing and memorable, which is perfect when you need to remember where a particular item or clue is for progression. Monster design is also gruesomely well done, with a combination of blending of environments and organic material. Some are twisted skeleton creatures, whilst others resemble humanoid blobs or cactus-inspired horrors. And finally, sound. The game has no voice work, with the story and interactions preferred to be told by subtitles, which suits the game's retro-inspired feel. Because of this, the environmental and weapon sounds takes precedent and are much more compelling when travelling like through the theme park. Like the visual influences, sound has also been elevated to be more than just background noise, with each step or shot from a weapon a visual tell depending on location. Monsters, for example, make very different unnerving sounds, and you often hear the monsters well before seeing them, ramping up that tension before you interact with the creature in question. This also plays into puzzles, and you'll hear the sound of a completed puzzle even when it's not on the screen, thus confirming your reward. It all feeds into this dark and nervy experience that echoes the style to that of Silent Hill with equally dramatic effect. The music ranges from piano-based melodies, wind chimes and synthwave to ensure the 90s ooze from the game's very fibre, ensuring that whatever the location, danger, tension and horror is only a corner turn away. In terms of recommendation, a good quality headset will really give you the best experience for those jump scares and the brutal creature sounds coming from the distance. And this leads me on to the rating of the game. Now, I rate games in order of avoid, on sale, great purchase and must own. My rating for Crow Country is a must own. The developers here knew what they were creating, knew what influences to take, but also how to implement them in a way the players would find engaging and enjoyable. It just hits almost all aspects perfectly on the head, which is a rare find in today's modern day gaming. The game is currently priced on Xbox at £16.74 or approximately $20, and depending on your skill and patience would give you well over 6+ hours worth of gameplay. Combine this with a plethora of hidden collectibles, weapon upgrades, endgame ranking collectibles, plus a hard mode to experience, you could easily add another 10 hours into the mix. The real beauty of this game is that it resurrects feelings of nostalgia whilst at the same time bringing something fresh to the scene. I look forward to what the developers create next and hope this gives other indie developers the push to create their own worlds of art for us to all enjoy. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's it. I do hope you like this review, and if you do, please like, share and subscribe if you so wish. And if you would like to put some notes or even just a comment in the comment section, I do like reading them. Anyway, have a great time gaming, and I'll see you all again soon.